And here we just are going to take like a gratitude journey. And the first place we're going to stop on our journey is this quote. Robyn, do you want to read it for us?
Yeah, I sure can. Gratitude, when mixed with mindfulness and healthy intention, creates inner peace. As we think of others and their needs, our gratitude shifts from what we have to what we can give. And
So
that's a
I
quote
love,
Critchet.
yeah, I love this idea of being grateful for what we can give,
Mm-hmm.
being grateful about what we can give. So again, in the chat, or if somebody wants to raise their hand and talk, what are you grateful that you are able to give right now?
So I can lead us off. I am super excited to get off work at 5 tonight and take. I have a flock of chickens, for those of you who do not know, and they've been laying lots and lots of eggs, and I have bundled them up in little half dozens, and I'm going to go give them to some of my friends to use for their Thanksgiving dinners. And I'm just, it, it really helped my mind shift from, oh, I can't see all of my people, to I'm going to bless my friends with a small gift. I know they're in that house, and I hope that it brings a smile to their face and made me grateful for my chickens, made me grateful for my husband for building me a coop, made me grateful for my kids, going and watering them. It really kind of was a impetus of a grateful, like, I don't know, 10 minutes where I just kept going from gratefulness to gratefulness. Tammy says, I'm grateful that I can give my clients hope. I forget this sometimes, but I enrolled a new mom yesterday, and before we hung up, she thanked me and said I gave her hope.
Wow, hope is a huge gift, right?
Yes, it is.
Is a huge gift.
Thanks for sharing that.
I feel like it's interesting because partly like these webinars are partly a gift on my part. When I create the PowerPoint, which I usually do whenever Be Strong Families does a webinar, I'm usually instrumental in having created the PowerPoint and thought through it. And I really do it as a gift for the community. I really, and I think whenever one of you steps up and gives a webinar, you're doing it as a gift to the community. You're sharing your wisdom, you're sharing your experience. Whenever you're talking in the chat, I'm grateful that you're making it happen. You're making it go. So that's one thing. I'm grateful. I mean, I think I'm grateful that I'm able to give, the Ethiopian Thanksgiving to my kids. Because if it were up to me, I would probably cancel Thanksgiving this year actually. But it was important to them. So I'm grateful that I can meet that need. Other people, what are you grateful that you can give? Thank you for sharing, Tammy. Yvonne, Steve, Gabriel, Beatrice, Shirley. What are you grateful that you can give? Sarah, Stephanie, Marita, Maxine, Kim. What are you grateful that you can give this year? Somebody raise their hand?
Yeah, there is a hand raised.
Stephen is going to talk. So, Stephen, you can talk now.
There, everyone. Uh, I have kind of liked the idea of making and creating different foods. I don't cook often, but I'm grateful that I have the time with this upcoming break and the means to bake or create a little something. I think I might switch it up this year. And I was looking at a holiday eggnog recipe, so I might buy some ingredients and make some homemade eggnog and then maybe just deliver it and leave it on the doorstep of friends and family in the area. So I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to do that, to reach out.
That's awesome, Stephen. Make sure you text them as soon as you leave it so they get it in the fridge.
Oh yeah.
But I love that. I love doing that too, Stephen. That makes me so happy. Shirley said, I'm sharing the turkey I'm making with a neighbor who has to work on Thanksgiving. And
Nice.
Beatrice said, I'm grateful for helping the families I serve as parent educator. But my big grateful one is having my two kids with me.
Nice. Okay, let's go to the next place on our journey. So this is Dr. Joe Dispenza tells us that something as simple as moving into an elevated state of joy, love, or gratitude for 5 to 10 minutes a day can produce significant epigenetic changes in our health and bodies. And this is, science light that gratitude or moving into a happy frame of mind, a joyful, loving, grateful way of being in the world. Notice his hands are like, notice this because I'm going to bring it up again and again. Notice the way his arms are. That it actually does change our physiology, and it changes it in ways that can be passed down from generation to generation. Epigenetic means it changes the genes, and there's a lot of stuff on multi-generational trauma and how trauma is transmitted, in the genes. But also moving into a elevated state of joy, love, or gratitude can change things significantly in your makeup. And I guess, Robyn, does that resonate with you?
It does. It does. I have a simple mindfulness practice, that gives me 5 or 10 minutes of this a day. And although I'm not going to be passing my DNA on any longer, I figure that it's something that my kids can model because they're looking and they're watching me and how I live. Because that those little buggers are going to be passing their DNA on, and I need it to be healthy DNA.
So tell us about your gratitude practice, Rob.
So every day when I wake up, I get out of bed, I put my feet flat on the floor, so I'm kind of grounded, and I do some meditation for usually about 10 minutes as my alarm. Sometimes I feel like I need a little bit more because of whatever's going on in my world, and I know it's going to take me longer to, settle in. And then after that, I walk down to my kitchen, and on my wall, when you walk into my house, I have a board that I bought a sign that says thankful. And every day I put a post-it note, one or two post-it notes, three or four, whatever I'm grateful for. And they're typically small things. And some are work related, some are, personal, some are about nature. Whatever I'm feeling grateful for in that minute. It's kind of like some people do like a mind dump of everything that's bothering them. I try to do a mind dump of gratefulness in the morning because it kind of sets my day up for success. So then I go on with my day, I do all my stuff, and during the day I have ideas that pop in my head. Oh, I should put that on the board. I should, think about that. And sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. But before I go to bed, I typically add one or two more, and then I just kind of review them. And so I've done it for months and months and months now, so it's really thick. And um, I go to bed with the spirit of gratitude about how extraordinarily blessed I am. And not because of anything that I did or am, but really like the people and the things and the way that my life has flowed. Does that make sense? I'm sorry. I feel like I'm rambling now, but that kind of really is. It's a really fluid process.
And I connect with the flow piece a lot, Robyn, because to me, it's like those of you who've participated in Sarita doing something on laughter yoga, where you can laugh and it makes changes in your body, and moves you, helps with depression and all that kind of thing, just by kind of forcing yourself to laugh, not because something is necessarily funny. And I feel like this is the same thing with the energy of joy or love or gratitude. Like I can consciously, intentionally just drop into that space. It used to creep up on me. Like it used to be like every once in a while I would just feel joyful for no reason, not because something happened, but just because, just all of a sudden it wells up and it's like, wow, I'm glad to be alive. And now I can kind of do that to myself. I can just kind of like drop into a space of feeling joyful and loving and grateful, you know. And I feel like that's part of being kind of in the flow. Let's go to the next one. And anybody who has anything to share in the chat, we are delighted to welcome all of your thoughts about gratitude and this gratitude journey. So we talked about this, you know, and like with everybody, whether we can see you or not, just to put your hands up like this, just to put your arms out, and then breathe in deeply, and then breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out with your arms up and out. So the question I have for you is, what does that feel like? What are some words that you would attach to that embodied feeling? I would say this is a gratitude. It's on the internet. It's the most symbolic. If you Google images of gratitude, you're going to see hundreds of people with their arms outstretched. Why? And Robyn, don't answer. I want to hear from the group. Why? What did you feel when you open your arms? Openness, is that a word? Yes, openness is definitely a word. Open, receptive. What other words? Accepting, thanking God, and relaxing. Yes, relaxing. It's so critical. Also, it's a vulnerable stance. Joy, yes. Joy reminds me of praising the Lord. Yes, because what happens when we're praising the Lord? We're knowing that everything is okay. We're relaxed, right? We're in the flow, as Robyn was saying. You know, we're in this flow, and we are, and that place of relaxation and acceptance and openness and willingness to be joyful is a place where transformation happens, where creativity happens, where and where you are ironically connected with everything that is, and also the most kind of in your body, you know. Gabriel says reminding yourself to be vulnerable, to take in the things we forget about, right? But when you put your hands up and you just like open your heart or open your chest, you're not, one of my points is it's like it's a connection between our body and our soul. We're not overthinking it. We're not trying too hard, you know? When we're open like that, it's kind of being vulnerable. Yes, you are vulnerable, but you're vulnerable without fear. You're vulnerable with, you're able to do this because you're completely trusting, you know? And regardless of what's going on in the world, you trust that it's okay, you know, that you're, because you wouldn't show your, you know, like this is a stance where if you're trying to protect yourself or defend yourself, your arms are up, you're like this, you're like this. When you're like this, it's just like embracing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love what Marita said, open to hearing. I love that. And Tammy said, I've known many people who hold their arms open, palms up while praying.
Yeah, like this. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, next slide. I feel good.
Yeah, this slide always makes me happy. Those yellow flowers just put me in an almost instant good mood.
And we got more yellow flowers for you, Rob.
Awesome.
Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you want to read what Steve wrote, and then I'll go
I
into
do. I remember Carl Totten's webinar where he gave a few strategies, and the one that stuck with me is bookending our days with 3 things we're thankful for when we wake up and before we go to bed. I think this sets us up for success on building gratitude throughout the day and throughout the progression of the days. Little late, sorry. It's okay, Stephen.
No problem.
It's a lot to type.
So when I think of gratitude making sense of our past, to me, what that's about is some of the things that happened when they were happening, I was not excited about. I was not grateful for. I was resisting. I was in pain. I was wishing wasn't happened. And sometimes when I look back on them with the grateful, being accepting and grateful for everything, I realize how they got me to where I am today. I realize the lessons that were necessary to bring me to this point. And what that does is it makes me feel a little bit more relaxed about the stuff that's going on now that I'm not happy about or that I'm, excuse me, frustrated with. And with that relax, I'm able to dream about tomorrow. I'm able to put to, it puts me in a more creative dreaming frame of mind so that I can create a vision for tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel that same way. And I love looking at my board as I leave some mornings. And because they are like, I'm thankful for getting through this work week. So if I'm having a bad week and I look at that and I say to myself, I did it last week, I can do it again. And I build on that sense of um, okayness. Like it is okay. And I love what Kathy says about taking and learning and being grateful for the, even in the bad times, taking the lesson and being grateful for the lesson.
Well, and accepting everything in life as a gift, you know, accepting every relationship, everything that happens as a gift and an opportunity for learning, opportunity for growth. You know, and again, for me, this is connected to faith too. It's connected to a spirituality or a spiritual stance, which is, I know some people, there's a famous saying that says, you know, God's not going to give you more than you can handle, or something like that. It's not exactly the same energy that I'm thinking of, but it is like, if I have faith, then I need to trust that this is important. This is something that has to be gone through. And I even think that when I see great hate and ugliness and what I consider evil in the world, and I'm grateful that I can see it and it's not under the surface anymore, you know? So it's kind of like finding the thing to be grateful for in this situation that is really painful.
Yeah. And Tammy said that's absolutely something I use with my clients when they're going through something. Help them to think about what they did before, what helped, and what didn't. Thank
Yes.
you, Tammy.
Thank you, Tammy. Let's go to the next. So thank you. I mean, this isn't the end, but this is the thank you. Just like this one, the thank you. These are open hands, and when you put your palms up and if everybody just makes that does that, you're putting your palms up. You're cupping them. You're ready to receive, like you're willing to receive. And the thank you, you're receiving with gratitude. You're receiving being grateful for what's being dropped into your hands. And there's a great deal of trust there. So I think when you Google gratitude, it's all about receiving. It's all about, you know, your attitude towards receiving. And finally, the last little thing we have here is again our woman with open. And the words that are around here: infinite, empathic, present, open, aware, secure, connected, attuned, grateful, welcoming, worthy. You know, I feel like it's like this gratitude stance, this grateful stance is about being completely connected and merging your energy with all that is in a way that is just really positive and hopeful.